It's another Thursday. Welcome to What the Papers Are Saying. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition. I am Vivian Lokko. We'll look at the big stories for the week. We look at the various angles used by the media outlets that have published these big stories. When we come back, I'll run you through the stories that made headlines. So stay with us. Welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. I am Vivian Lokko. So let me take you through the stories that made headlines this week. The first has to do with government's plans to introduce a 1 cedi levy on every litre of fuel. How was that captured? Let's start with the Chronicle. They say government imposes 1 cedi levy on fuel to solve doomsday. Daily Guide says government introduces new petroleum tax. Channel 1, Balmia slams government over fuel tax, brands it doomsday levy. And finally, on My Joy Online, President Mahama justifies new petroleum levy as difficult but necessary. We move away from that, and the minority has petitioned the IGP over the delay in announcing the winner for the Ablekuma North parliamentary election. So let's see how that story was captured. I'll start with the Chronicle. They say NPP MPs protest at police headquarters, demand security for EC to declare Ablekuma North parliamentary results. Daily Guide, minority marches on IGP. City Newsroom, they just want to lose belly fat. Vanderpoy mocks minority MPs march. We move away from that. Another story that made headlines has to do with the OSP and former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta over him getting back to Ghana to answer questions. Let's start with Daily Guide. They say Ofori-Atta back on OSP wanted red list. The Chronicle says Ajeben talks tough. Ofori-Atta can't be treated like a king, says he's a fugitive from justice. City Newsroom, Ofori-Atta not evading justice, he's just unwell. Frank Davis is lawyer speaking over there. And finally, My Joy Online, if Ofori-Atta's presence is crucial, then OSP's case is weak. Nana Ajay Bafo Ewa speaking over there. We move to another story, a pretty sad one. 10 years already, has to do with the June 3rd twin disaster. How was that captured 10 years on? City Newsroom, One Ghana movement demands justice for June 3 victims 10 years after tragedy. And then My Joy Online says June 3rd disaster fueled by politics and lawlessness. Henry Porte speaking over there. Finally, we'll look around issues to do with corruption, and the president has been speaking on that. How was that captured? Let's go to Daily Graphic. They say government won't interfere with corruption cases. And finally, the Herald says Mahama reiterates his corruption stance. So those are some of the big stories for the week. When I come back, I'll introduce my guest. Stay with us.
Calling all farmers, agribusinesses, and innovators, this is your chance to shine. Channel 1 TV invites you to exhibit at AgriFair 2025, one of Ghana's largest agricultural exhibitions. From Friday 20th to Sunday the 22nd of June, the A4 Sutherland Children's Park in Accra will come alive with the very best from Ghana's agribusiness sector. Are you a farmer with fresh produce of any kind? Be it crops, livestock or poultry, fisheries or aquaculture, or you're a supplier of agro inputs and processing machinery? This is your platform to connect with the world. AgriFair 2025 is more than an exhibition. Showcase your fresh produce, share your expertise and experience, and grow your business. So, to all farmers with fresh produce, livestock or poultry, fisheries or aquaculture products, come, sell, network, and expand your business. AgriFair 2025, where culture meets innovation. Register now to secure your spot. Call us on 0205 973 973. Come one, come all. Enjoy the freshest farm produce at unbeatable prices. And treat yourself to sizzling kebabs made from beef, mutton, pork, chicken, and more. Great taste, great value. Don't miss out. The AgriFair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by the Ghana Exim Bank, Legacy Crop Improvement Center, Development Bank Ghana, and Agri Impact Limited.
This June, the business wave is back and it's bigger than ever. The City Business Festival 2025 on City FM and Channel 1 TV, where it's all about business. This June, we will be celebrating Ghanaian businesses, re-examining our business modules and practices through our business fora, and sharing knowledge through our on-air business discussions. Make a business date with the on-air series every weekday at 9 a.m. on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3 City FM and 10 a.m. on Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV. From expert interviews to real-world insights to the tools you need to grow. Don't miss a single moment this June. It's the City Business Festival 2025, celebrating everything business. Only on City FM and Channel 1 TV. Your business, your future, your time is now. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and let's grow together. The City Business Festival 2025, celebrating everything business.
The City Business Festival 2025 is powered by 97.3 City FM and Channel 1 TV, and it's proudly sponsored by Absa Bank, MTN Business, and Zonda Tech Ghana Limited.
Welcome back to what the papers are saying. Let me introduce my guests for today. Here in the studio, I have Samuel Atamensa here with us at Channel 1 TV. Welcome, Seb.
Thank you, Vivian.
Then I have Selim Adoni also here with us at Channel 1 TV. Selim, welcome.
Thank you, Vivian.
So, gentlemen, we'll start with the levy. Some people are naming it already the Dumso levy. So we'll start with that. Before I get your thoughts on that new levy, I want to quickly go to the presidency. Mahama has been speaking on why that levy is being introduced. So let's pick that quickly. And then when we're done, we'll pick the reaction of the former presidential candidate of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, on that same levy.
Parliament yesterday approved an amendment to the Energy Sector Levies Act and the Certificate of Urgency, introducing a 1 cedi, Ghana cedi, increase in the energy sector recovery levy. This decision, though difficult, is necessary and justifiable.
NDC for Omuchan Trobebre every day. Obiehu Ejentra Omucha. And Ranajo, someone in Amo, Omodi Dumso levy aba. Dumso levy. Dumso levy. So first, almost e levy. Nayedi aba. Levy, no and then the Dumso levy aba. It is 8 times the levy. And then uto 1 liter of petrol 1 cedi no ubetria. Uto 1,000 cedis of petrol ubetria 83 cedis. 83 cedis as tax. Levy no usende obi 1,000 momwa obetria 10 cedis. Omu and then obetria 4,000 obetria 83 cedis for fuel.
So that's Dr. Bamia on the 1% levy on fuel. Summers, let me start with you. I mean, some say that we see the challenges in the energy sector, and even though this is coming at a time that everybody wants to have a bit of a break from paying taxes and all this, it is a necessary evil that we all have to deal with. Your thoughts on that?
Thank you, Vivian. I think there always has to be a reason for taking some of these decisions. And because the decisions are taken within the space of politics, the party in government should always should be in the position to articulate their justification. The other day, MPP did e-levy, and it was faced with a lot of backlash led by the NDC, who were in opposition. And this is no news, we all know. Today is the turn of the NDC to also introduce something which in their estimation will solve the existing problem, part of which they attribute to the, if you like, the misconduct or the mismanagement of the MPP. And so I can understand the MPP's discomfort with this, and then I can also understand the NDC's inspiration to do what they are doing. For me, we've seen these things go back and forth over the last 20 years, so it's no news to me.
Yeah.
I mean, when you are in opposition, it's bad. When you are in government, it's good.
Okay.
It's still a George Orwell kind of song. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. All men are equal, but some are more equal than others. When you are in power, some are more equal than others. So I'm sure, as we all see, the MPP people are singing against it. The NDC people are singing for it. But at the end of the day, for a citizen, it has to solve our problem. It just has to solve our problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's not going to solve the problem, then it's a bigger problem that we are creating for ourselves.
Yeah. So how do we get to solve this problem, especially when we've seen in certain instances where money was channeled for a particular thing, yet we don't see the results from the reason why these monies were taken?
Well, I mean, just when we were enjoying the reliefs and hoping that it will continue, I mean, this has come. But I think, before I come to your question, I think that maybe a little more engagement on the matters with key stakeholder groups like the GPRT, for example, would have been would have been better, would have saved the system from some of the criticisms. I hear they want to demonstrate or they want to strike.
Yeah, they want to strike on if Tuesday. They don't pull it off or reduce it to 50%.
And I think they have to be engaged. I mean, you don't lose anything by engaging people. I think they should engage. I think, yeah, so this has come. We're told that there is about some $3.1 billion debt in the sector, and that's minus the $1.2 billion or dollars that will be required for fuel. That is huge, and that is the key justification for government seeking to impose this particular levy. So, and quite a number of options I think were available. One was to increase tariffs. PRC increasing tariffs, but they quickly came to say that increasing the tariffs will mean that the tariffs will have to be increased by some 53% or so, and that will be unbearable. Another way of doing it is to enforce collection, ensure that people who owe ECG pay, and they block the revenue leakages, the commercial losses, etc. They block them. That should be a more sustainable way of doing it.
Why don't we do that one?
However, that is like medium to long term. That is a bit more burdensome on the state, and that would require time to do. The third option is to raise taxes or levies. This is what they have done. This is easier to do. This is more immediate and rather burdens the people. Okay, so the justification they seek to make is that it's either we take this or we endure doomsday, and I'm not sure anybody will want to endure doomsday. So the problem really is not about the imposition. For me, the problem is about how they will manage the resources or the revenue that will accrue from the imposition of this particular levy. we've seen this over the years. Even ESLA itself, we've seen toll recovery levy. We've seen a lot of levies and monies collected in respect of the energy sector debt, but nothing really drastic has happened in terms of reduction in the levy. It rather keeps growing. I think that they need to police the collection. They need to ensure that the collection is done and done properly, block leakages as far as the collection is concerned. I also think that they need to be a bit more transparent and accountable in respect of the revenue they collect. So it would be nice to do like a quarterly account of a kind to the people that this quarter we collected this much. This is how much you have applied to the debt, and so this is where we are in respect of the debt. Doing so will maybe bring the citizenry along and will make people know that okay, this is not business as usual. The other thing I think they should do is to ring fence the collection. Of course, we have a lot of funds we collect which are ring fenced. This should be one of those. When you collect it, ring fence it, so that we know that this
they say they
money,
are going to do that.
They say they will do that. Okay, so I mean, I hope they really do it, so that they don't say something is happening here and we need money, so we are taking this money to go and solve it and we will come back, you know, or they'll put it in a consolidated fund, which is almost a bottomless pit and nobody sees where it goes. So I think when they do this, especially the transparency and the accountability bit, you know, people may be carried along better. And I think, well, it's a necessary thing they have done, like the president said. But I think the timing of it is interesting because it's come at a time where fuel prices are reducing. And so we thought we were going to see it reduce more so we can benefit. But I think what they have done is to, so I think it takes effect from the next pricing window, which is around 15th or 16th. 15th so hopefully, if in that pricing window we see or we are to expect a drop, then it means that they will have to catch it. They will have to catch it there. If the drop is to be 1 cedi, then it means we will not see that drop and we will remain where we are. And so that blocks it. And if we are fortunate, in the next window, we see another drop, then we'll continue to see the drop because they would have been making the money there and accruing it. I only hope that the stability of the city continues so we can see a lot of some of these. I see GPRTU and co complaining. GPRTU, when this happens, they are the biggest beneficiaries. They will increase their fares anyway.
Pass it on to us.
But I don't think they have justification to increase the fares because fuel was at 15 or 16 cedis, reduced to 12 cedis, and we've not seen an increment yet. And what's the justification for increasing?
Well, in the medium term, if the price of fuel goes up, what happens?
Yeah, so that's another discussion.
So
if the price of fuel goes up,
wait till that time.
Of course, but if the price of fuel goes up, that's another discussion. But if the price hasn't gone up, why will you want to increase it? Because we've not seen any change as in occasioned by this levy.
Let's look at the figure itself. I mean, 1 cedi, people feel they should do 50 pesos or less. The 1 cedi is rather on the high side.
Look, even if they are started with 50 pesos, people will still
complain.
And complain. You know, I'm not in a privileged position to have done the math to know, you know, the figures involved. In any case, even the debt within that sector, every day the figure changes. So we don't know which part of the debt we are going to use this money to resolve. If I heard Cassiel right, he made a point to suggest that this is not the money that we're going to use to settle the debt.
No, it's to keep your lights on.
It's to keep, you know, to buy
fuel to keep your lights on.
Fuel is 1.2
running.
It's $1.2 billion.
This is for fuel.
But we understand there's a debt of $1.3 billion.
To pay the fuel supplies.
No, the fuel is different.
Yes.
So you know, normally in the contract, fuel is not part. Because you have to give me fuel for me to generate. So that's not part of my cost. So the fuel cost is different. But I thought it was a 3.1 billion.
3.1 billion.
Already sitting there. Yes.
But he's saying that this money has nothing to do with
that.
The 3.1 billion.
Yes, that's what
this one
said.
Is just
for
to
fuel.
now get the fuel.
So this one will take care of the 1.2 billion.
No, not that debt.
Not debt.
Not
this is
the
what
debt.
we need to run
it.
Yes, I thought that 1.2 billion is the amount of fuel we
You
need
need
for the rest of the year.
Okay, so
Well,
that's to pay
so
that.
it probably will absorb that one. So that's what he's saying. And I'm just saying that they have done their calculations. I mean, look, any form of tax, any form of levy to the citizenry is painful. Okay, but what is, in all fairness, what is more painful is when you are not able to articulate and showcase the gains. You understand? And you know, within the political space, at times I get a bit uncomfortable with the media.
Right.
Okay,
What have we done?
politicians do their ding-dong battle, and when they go here, the media moves here. When they go here, the media moves here. Let's also have our independent assessment of the situation. What I am saying is that the optics would require that get the work done, and it will justify
Why you want the money?
why you want the money. If you don't solve the problem, it's going to come after you.
Yeah.
That's all we can say. I mean, e-levy, when it started, it was 1.5. People shouted, they brought it down to 1%. Okay. Now, the objective of using 1.5 was to solve a problem. If you succumb to the shouts and bring it to 1, it still will not solve your problem. And you will live with the scars
Of the wounds.
of the
From the
wounds.
wounds.
That's what it means. So if they will be able to sell what they are offering and stick to it and sustain it, but they should showcase the outcomes, they win. If they don't, they lose bitterly.
Yeah. All right. So we hope the show working, like they say now.
Yeah, that's why I think the GPRTU especially, even though I don't buy what they are saying, I think they should have been, you know, engaged.
Spoken to from the beginning.
So they understand what it is. So they understand that it's not as if we are coming to raise it. We've made some gains, about 3 or 4 city gains.
Yeah.
Maybe we are taking 1 city from that. I mean, explain it to them in a way they will understand. I recall the Abbas gentleman was spoken to on Eyewitness.
We spoke with him.
And I mean, he didn't understand what it was. So he said, if what they are saying is true, or if this is what it is, then we will not support it. Because in his mind, it was going to be an outright increase in the price of fuel and that kind of thing. I think they are a key stakeholder group. I think they should have been informed, or they should have been engaged at least. It doesn't, if you engage somebody, it doesn't mean the person necessarily agrees, but the person will feel respected, that at least you saw the need to speak to him, to take it, to get his buy-in and all of that. It's not too late. They've given an ultimatum, but you know, they should talk to them and see what they can get from them.
Okay, I'll move on. We'll go to the OSP. He's been speaking, has redeclared Ken Ofori-Atta as wanted again. Let me quickly pick that press conference he had on that particular matter. I apologize for that absence of sound from that video clip. However, I think basically he's announced that Ken Ofori-Atta has gone back on the wanted list. The red, what was it called? Red, some red alert.
Interpol red alert.
Interpol alert. Well, this particular story is an interesting one because of the passion coming from the OSP on this matter particular. I don't know which of you will go first over this back and forth between the former finance minister and the OSP. Selom, the lawyer should go first. Okay, Selom, your boss says go first. Explain the issue to us.
Well, I think the issue, so OSP with a mandate to deal with corruption and corruption-related matters is identify some 4 or 5 issues it thinks Ken Ofori-Atta must answer for. The issues include the National Cathedral expenditure, SML and a few other things, ECG contract that was abrogated and all of that. Ken Ofori-Atta is out of the country. He says he's not well. Yeah. He is going for medical care. And so, I mean, when he was leaving, he informed the chief of staff. I wonder why he informed the chief of staff.
Maybe saw this coming.
Because, I mean, your government was, so why do you, because you become a private person. But, I mean, he saw the wisdom to inform the chief of staff of his whereabouts, And so, the special prosecutor found him a useful person or a person of interest to assist him in investigating the matters. So the gentleman said he wasn't in town, and so he could come later. He was placed on the wanted list, that he was a fugitive from justice, he was running away from justice and all of that. I think they had some back and forth, and they arrived at some compromise, which made them, OSP, take his name from the wanted list and websites and all of that. And so,
but
Ken
if you're
himself,
dealing with somebody,
Ken himself said,
how is the person?
Well, you could run away. You could run away,
dealing with you all the time.
You could run away, but you can be talking to me. You not come, but you'll be talking to me.
So from that angle,
the reason why they want him is to come down and answer questions or assist in investigations. OSP thinks that he's running away, and they say no, they are not running away. They are undergoing some medical checkups and treatments, etc. So they gave a date for June. At the time he gave the date in February or March, I think February it appeared like a very long time.
Yeah.
And so he said he had some checks and procedure to do in March. And so June he would have been a bit better. So we are just learning, we've just been learning a few days ago that the March procedure and all of that didn't happen. And that, further checks on him have revealed that he has cancer. And so he has to undergo another procedure on June 13, and so he is unable to attend to come physically to the OSP for the assistance they want him to give. I think it's interesting. My only issue with Ken in this is when the March procedure did not happen. Because OSP says it didn't happen.
Right. It should have informed him.
I think it should have informed him and to see if, they could have rearranged the time or that kind of thing. Some communication, I think, should have gone on. And no communication is gone on a few days to the June 2 date or the 2nd June date. And then all of a sudden you say you have something else. I think if he had dealt with the March thing well, this one wouldn't be as if he was running away from anything. Okay. But, that's where we are. Office of Special Prosecutor or Special Prosecutor thinks that he has to calm down before he can have his engagement with him. I don't understand why he wants to do it that way. Because if you have a matter or something against him and you believe that what you have is good enough, go to court. Our laws allow for people to be tried in absentia, given some conditions. A person fails or refuses to come down, but is very much aware that he has to come down to stand trial, like he has noticed. You go ahead and try in absentia. Number two, if the person's presence in the court could create scenes or could create issues, could disrupt the process, you can try the person in absentia. So the first one will apply to him. He's refused to come down. Let's even assume so. He's refused to come down for whatever reason. If you have enough information, prosecute him. Go to court. Trigger the processes. Charge him in absentia. Prosecute him in absentia. If you're able to establish your case against him, let the court jail him in absentia, and they will take it up from there. So the insistence on him coming, and the phrase uses that to assist in investigations. Okay, maybe I don't want to assist you because I can go to court and keep quiet in a criminal matter. You have to establish my guilt. That's why in criminal matters, you are told that you have the right to remain silent. So I can remain silent, and the state or the republic must establish its case against me. That is also the reason why you don't have to self-incriminate. You don't have to speak. If I speak and you are going to pick from what I say to prosecute me, that nobody will do that. So I can keep quiet. you have to establish my guilt. That's why there are times we see people commit crimes. When they go to court, they say they are not guilty because they expect the state or the republic to establish guilt against them. If the republic fails to establish the guilt, you will go free. They must establish that guilt, and it's not just like any other. The standard of proof is not a civil matter. It's not civil. This is criminal, so it is beyond reasonable doubt. All the defense will do is to raise reasonable doubt that it could have been this, it could have been that. So why are you saying it is this? And it is better to release 1,000 robbers than to jail one innocent person. That is the principle on which criminal law stands. So the special prosecutor, if he thinks he has enough, he should go to court and deal with it. So I heard in his presser that eventually they will go to court. What are you waiting for? Everybody knows that you have tried to give the gentleman an opportunity. The gentleman too is saying he's not well, so he cannot come. So go to court, start the case. And if there is real evidence you have, we will all see it. And the judge or the court will see it. If you're able to prove your case, the court will go ahead and jail him. After all, I said in Ationu,
I was just going to come to that. What's the difference? Because she was jailed here, but was
jailed in was tried and jailed in absentia.
So what's the difference here?
So been cases I think the difference is that this one started but left. Sednap started in court, but I think sought leave of the court to go for medical treatment and never came back. They tried all of that. She never came back. She has still not come back. Go to court if you have enough evidence against Ken Ofori-Atta. Go to court, let the court decide.
Let me pick Samen's thought on all what is happening between.
I think Salom has laid the foundation, and I mean, from that context, I will not have anything important to add to it. I just want to raise another concern that it's important that the special prosecutor, and I'm talking about the person of the special prosecutor, begins to see the function that he is playing as an official function that is empowered by the law. Okay, the recent engagement with the media with regards to this particular issue at times gives me the impression that he throws himself as a person into this matter a bit too much. Okay, for one moment sit and believe and accept that one day you will not be special prosecutor, but the office will remain. Let the office function and take your personal feelings out of it. At times, the responses to the media and the way he goes about, I ask myself that somebody must tell him to calm down. Let the law work. Let the law lead you. Okay? These responses using proverbs, singing songs.
Yeah, that's the style.
No, and I'm actually talking about the style. I am saying that at times you are better off not going that way because of posterity. The law as it is will always vindicate you. If you push the law as the execution of the law ahead of yourself, taking your person out of it. But for most of the time, it reminds me of our secondary school days. We are cafe. It feels like it feels like I will show you where. No, let's calm down. The law has enough elements to go after whoever has wronged or fallen foul of the law. And another thing is, look, it is sickness we are dealing with. And we are not working within the space of faith where it is for you to believe or not to believe. It's a matter of fact. You are an accredited investigative body, recognized, everywhere. So you will always have a way of checking with the Mayo Clinic. They may not give you personal details, as in details because you are third party, but they can confirm one or two things because you're an investigative body. You understand? That's my understanding. And it's for an investigative body, it's not everything that has to be played in public. It's not everything that has to be played in public. There are 1,001 ways that you can lock this Ken Ofori-Atta issue without always coming to public and then exchanging, journalists throwing questions, you asking in a King Kong fashion, like, Charlie, I'm on top of it, I'll finish him. No. I'm saying that you are occupying the office of the special prosecutor today. Tomorrow, you will not be there, and that's a fact of life. But make sure that while you are doing it, you are protected and led by the law that established you. But this, threat and all those, we don't need that. Just get the work done. I mean, that's my concern. Just follow it. And we have seen in this country people occupy positions like the special prosecutor is occupied. Nobody ever heard their voices, and yet they got work done. So this engaging media, I mean, a simple press statement can inform people or update people. But back and forth, and we'll come after him. Who does he think he is? You don't talk like that when you occupy that kind of position. You don't talk like that. Right? Is he better than somebody? No. That's going off the script. Just stay there, use the law. If you have to go after him, use the agency that you have, the channels that you have, and pursue the law. You have collaboration with international investigative bodies. That is you have it at your disposal, without every day coming to the media to exchange and tell people to go and tell him that no, please. That is way too Ghanaian for me. So let's calm down. This is my concern.
All right, thank you. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll move to the minority petitioning the IGP over the delay in the declaration of results, parliamentary results for the Ablekuma North elections. Stay with us.
This June, the business wave is back and it's bigger than ever. The City Business Festival 2025 on City FM and Channel 1 TV, where it's all about business. This June, we will be celebrating Ghanaian businesses, re-examining our business modules and practices through our business fora, and sharing knowledge through our on-air business discussions. Make a business date with the on-air series every weekday at 9 a.m. on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3 City FM and 10 a.m. on Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV. From expert interviews to real-world insights to the tools you need to grow. Don't miss a single moment this June. It's the City Business Festival 2025, celebrating everything business. Only on City FM and Channel 1 TV. Your business, your future, your time is now. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and let's grow together. The City Business Festival 2025, celebrating everything business.
The City Business Festival 2025 is powered by 97.3 City FM and Channel 1 TV, and it's proudly sponsored by Absa Bank, MTN Business, and Zonda Ghana Limited.
Welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. I am Vivian Lokko in the studio. I have Samuel Atamenta as well as Salamadonu. We're looking at the big stories for the week. Gentlemen, we'll move to the minority petitioning the IGP over the Ablekuma North parliamentary election results. So this is now going close to the SAL matter, isn't it? Hello.
Yeah, so this when the getting to 6 months. 6 months. Today is fifth.
Today is fifth, yeah.
So we're almost at the 6 month. 7th will be exactly 6 months since the new parliament was sworn in, and Ablekuma North not part of it. It's not good enough. I think there are issues, and the two sides must find a way, or the three sides in this case, including the Electoral Commission, must find a middle ground. The interesting thing is, I mean, if you drive through the constituency, you see both candidates thanking the people for voting for them. One uses "I'm grateful," the other one uses "thank you." You know, so I mean, they're playing the game. The EC should be decisive in the matter. I mean, what are the ground rules? What were the ground rules for the election? What are the rules? Present your pink sheet, or must you present your pink sheet? Does the EC have pink sheet? What are the issues? We must deal with the issues and then declare a winner for the place. It's not a good idea that they are there after they've been there after the election, they voted, and a candidate has not been declared because of security concerns. I'm sure the EC, I think the EC has tried a few times to declare
they say they are ready now, they want proper security. Every
time the process gets disrupted, and now they've just gone away and nobody's telling anybody anything. If it's security they want to declare the results, they must get security. I don't know why the police also hasn't provided them that security. But I think what is important is what happens in the constituency after that declaration, and we must also ensure that, I mean, the security agencies are on top of the game. If it means there should be a deployment in the constituency to maintain the peace and order they have there after the declaration, that should be, no matter which way it goes. One side wants a rerun of the election in specific polling stations. One side says no, just declare what you have. I think we need to interrogate the issues properly. Are the pink sheets there? What is the basis for the EC wanting to go ahead? Does the EC have pink sheets that both sides, not both sides agree necessarily, but pink sheets that can stand the test of time? When they go to court, can those pink sheets stand the test of time and all of that? Once those things are crossed, I think the EC should be given the necessary protection to declare the results. That's very important. I don't even know, maybe I've not checked, but I don't know why they cannot declare the results maybe on TV or somewhere.
They always try the live, but it never works.
Before the people see you have declared it. I don't know. But we must find a way to resolving this. The difference between this and SAL is that SAL, they didn't even do the election at all. They didn't vote for a candidate. This one, they voted for a candidate, but the declaration has become the issue. And it's in the same constituency that days after the election, some ballot papers and things got bent. I don't know how those bent ballot papers will affect this process, whether those papers are part of those ones or not.
Those papers are part of it, but the MPP said they have the records of
the pink sheets, and NDC doesn't have the pink sheets.
Doesn't have those ones that got bent.
No, the MPP has the pink sheet, or they have what they call the scanned copies.
Well, they have,
because I think
they have copies to prove.
Both of them say they have copies.
Yes.
But for some reason, the details on the copies are different.
Yeah.
The same election, two sides have different pink sheets. The EC must find a way around it, and the EC doesn't have pink sheets, right? Because they say they were.
Wouldn't that solve the problem?
No, the rerun. You see, well, that's what we all thought. But one side says they don't want the rerun. Another side says I want the rerun. And once your opponent says I want the rerun, then it means that your opponent has something you don't have, or has something up his sleeves. Okay, and you also say you don't want the rerun.
That there's an issue with the collation.
The collation.
Yes.
Yeah, so the collation is done with the pink sheets. Yeah. And the collation, if the pink sheets are right, a class 2 person, class 1 person can do the collation. It's just addition. So it's because the pink sheets and the figures on the pink sheets are not the same. That is why they are not able to agree. If the figures on the pink sheets were the same, anybody could collate it, and we all know where we are. But they have different pink sheets, or they have different details on the pink sheets. One is saying I have scanned pink sheets. One is saying I will not take the scanned pink sheets because this is the one you must get. You know, and I'm just wondering, those places, didn't anybody even take a video when EC was declaring the elections so that we can take those polling stations, the video at least, and then get the figures from the video and work on the collation? Yeah. I just don't get the whole thing. But the EC must get the protection it needs to declare the results. And if you have a problem with the results, however it goes, I think the courts are there to listen to you.
Thomas?
I think all the EC is asking for is protection. I'm not sure I've heard anywhere where the EC has said that they were not ready to declare. They are just asking. You know, what actually happened there wasn't an EC operation issue. It was a security issue. And I am not so sure whether the EC, by the way it's structured, is in charge of security at any point.
No.
The police, as far as elections are concerned, are supposed to supervise the security aspect. So I can understand why everybody is calling on the police. And the police should face it and do their job. Yours is to provide security. It's not to isolate what you want and what you don't want and decide whether you want to do it at this time or not. Once the EC is ready, the police has to be ready to provide the security. Now, when it's declared, as we have seen in this country since 1996, if it's declared and you disagree, you end up in court. You know, people forget that we've seen a situation where Amo versus Rebecca Adote.
I think
Well gone.
Yes. When it was declared for Rebecca Adote, Amo went to court. Okay? It took 4 years. They went to court till I think the last month of the year 2000 elections that they overturned the thing. Yeah. You understand? But it's better late than never. But it was overturned at that time, and the country, we had our peace. You know, for whatever it's worth, we need our peace. Because you see, if they mismanage this process, it can erupt into something that we cannot handle. So the police must be ready to supervise this thing, provide the necessary security for the EC to do their job, and then we go. If one party disagrees, the courts are there to do a further determination.
Okay. Our final issue, our time is almost up. June 3rd, twin disaster, 10 years on. Thomas, are you impressed with how the government...
No.
But let her finish the question.
For a moment, I was like, well, what's going on?
No, I'm not impressed with anything.
You're not impressed with anything?
No, but nothing has changed. Not one thing has changed. Nothing has changed. I'm telling you. The unfortunate occurrence on June 3rd, 2015, if touch wood, a similar situation erupts anywhere in Ghana, the same outcomes we will experience. Nothing has changed. No caution, no education, no improvement. Our special, planning is in a mess. No supervision. The assemblies don't have the strength and the independence that they need. They don't have the resources, and we are not modeling our revenue generation to empower the assemblies. If we believe that if we empower the assemblies, they will take power away from the central government. So, central government in, out, they pretend that they are working with the assemblies, but they don't work with any assemblies. They just sit in Accra and do their own thing. Look, nothing has changed, Vivian. Nothing has changed.
But how do we change this?
Well, as for us, we can keep talking. We can only keep talking. That's what we do for a living. Those who offer themselves to be the change makers, it is our duty to impress upon them and urge them, and in some cases compel them to do the work. I mean, go back to the place. We saw 9/11, right? 9/11. Yeah. Go back and see what has happened in the US as a result of 9/11. Go to the UK, check out the stadium disaster in Liverpool, and see what has happened as a result of what they picked out and how it has impacted on policy. We are the only country a thing like this happened. The only thing we do is to go and pray, give ourselves funds, and then cry small, and then go on with our life doing the same things. Vivian, we are committing the same mistakes. Nothing has changed.
Let me bring in Philip. Sometimes it feels like he's giving up.
Of course, nothing has changed, and we, when it happens, we are sad, we cry. I think there was some church matter, people prayed and did all of that, and we've gone back to factory settings. I think that if for nothing, I think the situation may even have degenerated, because a lot of buildings on waterways we have seen, even though the June 3 disaster was not just there was the fuel bit as well and all of that, but it's a general discussion on flooding and all of that. And even now, do we have guidelines, or do we have protocols or regulations on what to do? People still go to filling stations when it rains or they want a place to hide. They go and hide under the shed there and all of that. Have we sensitized people enough that these places are not safe havens, are not places you go to hide from the rain when these things happen? So if that mixture of petrol and water happens again, and God forbid, it happens, it's likely we may have a recurrence of this, because people will still be there. A lot of cars will be parked there and all of that. I was listening to Professor Chris Gordon, who said his worry these days is that now there are a lot of churches who are even taking spaces at filling stations. It's a place where we have mats, etc. Just on top of the buildings, you see a church there. And he was even concerned about what happens in emergency when people have to evacuate it. The staircases are so narrow. There are a lot of people up there, and all of that. Who is watching those spaces? Who is watching that? The assembly, who is watching that?
The churches being close to the filling stations, I think, is bad. But it's even worse when you have restaurants by the filling stations.
Cooking. Restaurants will cook.
You go to filling stations that are tagged in communities.
Yes.
These days, they break 2 buildings and then use the space there and push the filling station there. There's a house here, domestic fire next, and as if Obekase Penimbi Nikroma. I don't know how to say that in English. It's like, do anything you want when you want to do it, and nobody cares. Filling station, petrol, the least mistake.
You have pizzas and all of that.
Restaurant next to a filling station, and there's fire there.
And it's actually become the place for, because there are a lot of restaurants. A lot of those. Names.
So and after seeing all these things, we think that we've learned something from June 3rd. No, we haven't learned anything, and we really don't want to learn anything, because I see that President Mahama is daring to get into some areas. Now he's talking about banning plastics. He's talking about changing this. He's talking about doing this. I'm praying that one day the president will wake up and address this issue, because if nobody is addressing it, every day is somebody else getting into trouble. Every day is somebody else that got drowned. Every day is somebody else that got burnt. One day it may be coming closer home. That's life.
All right, gentlemen, we have to leave it at this point. Thank you very much. Samantha, Mr. Salam Adonu, thank you as well. Vivian, Lokko here. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.